Hey everybody, David Nagel. I want to invite you to jumpstart your business and make a quantum leap. Come on inside this podcast and do it now. Why do we want to jumpstart our success? Well, I think that if we can get ourselves in a place of either we're starting and we need to get to a good positive result to help us get the inner drive going, the inspiration, the dedication, see some positive results, or have you stagnated in your business or your success for a period of time and you're having trouble getting out of a funk? Maybe the COVID deal puts you in a funk and you need to get some results moving in the direction to give you some inspiration. This is the plan that's going to help you do that. One way of saying jumpstart your success is also to give a quantum leap, if you will. But I'm going to give you basically kind of a step-by-step instruction guide here as to what you need to do to create an explosive jump in your results. And I will tell you this, there is no other way to do this, okay? It is a proven way. It's a way I've done it. It's a way I've taught people to do it for 20 years, and it works. It will give you a big result really quick if you're willing to follow this strategy. And keep in mind that when we're talking about making an explosive jump in our success, we're not jumping all the way to the massive vision result overnight, okay? What we're doing is we're leapfrogging some slow starting pains or some slow restarting pains in order to, get out of kind of a rut, get out of kind of rut thinking, but do something that's going to challenge ourselves. Do something that's going to cause us to go to a higher level of standard for our life and our business, a higher level of commitment for who we want to be and what we want to do. Really kind of to just, explosively just get back into it and really jump. So let's talk about that. First thing, what do you want? You have to create a goal, okay? Don't come running to me with, I don't know what I want. What do I do? I don't want to hear it. What do you want? Figure out what you want, okay? If you don't know what you want, go back and listen to our podcast on authenticity. Go back and listen to how do you find your purpose? Go back and listen to Success is a Decision. Go back and listen to Drive. I've done plenty of stuff for over the last couple of years on how to help you kind of find what you want. But ultimately, what you want is already here. It's already inside of you. It's really accepting it. And if you got to step into your authenticity to get there. So let's just drop that for now. What do you want? You got to create a goal. And I think that the goal needs to do a couple things. It needs to be exciting. It needs to challenge you. It needs to require an up level in how you show up. And it should be fun at the same time. Because the idea is like we're going to snap out of a rut and we're really going to get our mind going. So create a goal. Create a tangible goal. Create a goal that you can measure. It's measurable. It's tangible. And it requires that you show up differently in order for it to happen. Number two, you have to create a much higher level of commitment to the goal by putting yourself in a new situation that will create a big jump in results. So let me tell you about when I did this proactively, consciously knew what I was doing, in order to create a different result and how that has had a ripple effect through the rest of my career and my life. I wanted to desperately experience what it was like to turn your annual income into a monthly income. The first time I heard this phrase, I was in network marketing. It's the mid-90s. I'm around a lot of network marketers, and the big thing was in network marketing, you can turn your annual income into a monthly income. My mentor was very big in teaching network marketers back in those days, and he used to say it all the time. So it was the big thing. Everybody was out to turn their annual income into a monthly income. Well, I didn't do that in network marketing. So when I started my business, I still loved the idea because my coach would challenge me and say, it's easier to earn your annual income in a month than it is to earn it in a year. And with every fiber of my being, I wanted to believe that, but not only believe it, I wanted to experience what that was like. So at the time I was making about $50,000 a year. That was the equivalent of 50. And I really wanted to see what it was like to earn that in a month. Because it was such a huge leap in my mind, and it was a huge leap in my experience. And I had been around it for some time. Like, I had watched people do this. I knew people that did it. And so it was like I was close enough to taste it. So it was time. It was time to literally do this. And the way to do it was that I needed to put myself wholeheartedly into a position that would cause me to do it. So the first thing that I did was I walked away from network marketing. I walked away from the company that I was working for, the petroleum company that I worked for, and I started my own business. I wanted to be 100% control of my results and the direction that I was going and the goals that I was writing for myself and the discipline that I was applying. It was all came down to my efforts, right? I had a product, I had a service, I had a price, I had a business. It's time. It's go time. And I get to the point where I get everything ready. Like I've made sales. I've done things for a while in my business. Now I'm ready to make the jump. I'm really ready to do this. The first month, I set the goal, 50,000 this month. I don't get anywhere near the goal, and it's deflating as hell. Like, I get to the end of the month and I'm like, I expected to be closer than I was, not actually further away, which really kind of astounded me because I couldn't figure out why I was further away. And it was fascinating because actually in the progress that I had been making since I started the business, I was doing okay. I was doing all right. I wasn't setting the world on fire, but I was doing all right. I was making consistent sales, but I just wasn't anywhere near $50,000 a month. So I was trying to wrap my mind around this idea. And my mentor said to me, it's easier to make $50,000 a month than it is to make $50,000 a year. So I go at it again, second month in a row. And again, no cigar at the end of the month. I don't do it. I don't get to the 50,000. And I'm not even close. Not close where you can say, okay, if you do a little bit more of this, or if you change this in a little bit way, or if you work a little bit harder, you could actually get there. I'm so far away, it seems like there's no chance of me actually getting there. And then, so I went back to my mentor. I had a conversation with him. He won't tell me how to do it. All he keeps saying is that it's easier to make $50,000 a month than it is $50,000 a year. And what drops in for me is my level of commitment to do it was there, but my level of commitment to change my thinking about how I was doing it was not there. I was committed to an old way of thinking. I needed to commit to more of a quantum leap type of a thought. And that meant to expand my idea around the way that I was approaching my work. My work that I was doing probably since I started studying, since I was on the forklift, had really been grabbing a hold of the hard work ethic and riding that horse to death. There was nobody that was going to outwork me. And while that's a great attitude to have, the problem that seeped into my mind with it was that the work had to be hard. And if it had to be hard, I had to be making it hard. Now, you might think to yourself, well, why the hell would anybody do that? Very simply, because that's really the work, that's really the value system that we're raised with in middle-class America. That we build self-value, self-worth over doing things that are hard, over overcoming hard obstacles. So what do we do automatically to do that. We make things hard so that we're constantly verifying our own self-worth, even if it's a complete illusion. That's exactly what I did with this project, with this goal. I was approaching it unconsciously and making it much harder than it was. The whole idea that it could be easy really was not sinking in with me. But then I looked at it and I asked a different question. I was upping my level of commitment by putting myself in this new situation. It was, if this was the easiest thing that I ever did from a sales perspective, what would that look like? And I thought, well, if I do 50,000, if I make one sale for 50,000, I've done it in a month. I've got the sale. I've got the 50,000. The problem was at that time, I didn't believe I could do a sale for 50,000. So I asked myself, okay, what do I believe I can do? Even if I stretch it a bit, what do I believe I can do? And I came up with a number. And when I came up with that number, and if I remember correctly, the number was, I think it was 15,000. I don't remember the exact number, but it was up there. I raised the number significantly enough to where I hit the goal in 2 weeks. So I went from 2 months of not even coming close and a ton of hard work, a lot of effort, to I did it in 2 weeks with nowhere near the same amount of effort, but even more of a commitment to the actual change. So I put myself in that situation that had the ability to do all of those things, to create the big jump, to create a higher level of commitment, to create a higher level of commitment to the way that I was changing my thinking, and then bam, I did the action and it happened. So that was such a great breakthrough, because when I broke through it, the biggest realization was that I was so committed to making things hard, and I needed to separate the difference between working hard and making the work hard, right? There's a huge difference. I was doing both. I was working hard and making the work hard. I needed to work hard and make the work fit the goal, which then comes down to number 3, which is, who do you need to be to get a much larger result? And you need to describe this person in detail. So, long time ago, one of the things that I learned that I still find invaluable to this day is the fact that basically who we are is made up of a series of stories. Most of these stories we hear from other people, and we hear it from society. So that we have our personal family, we have teachers, we have religion, and we have the social society and general society that we're raised in, that really influences how we're thinking, how we see ourselves. And we have all of these stories that kind of dictate what we believe, what our values are, how we work, what our work ethic is. I mean, really every area of our life is made up of these stories that we hear in whole or in part by other people. And then we add a little bit of our own experience to it. We double down on stories. We may add a little of the story ourselves, but basically who we're showing up as is based on that story. Now, what happens if you were to change that story? Now, if I could literally reach into your brain and take out the part of your brain that has that story in it, and take it out and put in a different story, say the most successful person in the world that does what you want to do, and we put their story in that part of your brain. If you don't remember your old story, you're going to act as if the other story is 100% true, and you'll get the same results, period. It's the operating mechanism in our mind. The stories create our experience. So if I change the story of who I am, I can change the experience that I'm getting at any point in time in my life. And there's only a few things that are variables on that would cause it not to actually be true. And that could be, age could make a difference in that. So like, look at it this way. If you change your story when you're 80 years old, right, you're not going to be a Wilt Chamberlain in life. But you can view the world the way that he did, right? So The idea is that we're going to create a story that fits where we are and what it is that we want to do and who do we want to be to actually make that happen. So we create a story. We literally build a story from scratch as if you were writing a script for an actor or an actress to play a part in a role in a movie or a play. And then that person has to integrate that story into their personality. So the story is, they're now running that story in their thinking, they're running it in their emotions, and they're running it in their behavior. It also is in their discipline, it's in their commitment, it's in their work ethic, it is in their desire to succeed, it's in their energy, it's in everything. You literally become this person. Many, many people throughout history have literally created the story of the person that they want to be. I'll give you a couple for instances on this. People that I know that did this consciously with amazing results. One of the first people that I ever come across in a biography was General George Patton. General George Patton, his whole life, he felt like he was destined for something great, but he also had part of his personality that caused him to consider the fact that he actually might be a coward. Now, this is very well documented, and even though I don't have the name of the book readily available in front of me, there is a biography out there about his life that goes into great detail about the pains that he went through all of his life, all the way back into his childhood, to prove to himself that he was not a coward. The crazy things that he would do. He literally stood up in a firing range one time because he was so scared of being shot that he didn't think he would be able to perform on the battlefield. So he stood up at the end of a firing range, and he managed not to get shot, actually. But he needed to prove to himself that he could overcome that fear. And his whole life is a series of stories about things that he did to overcome this fear of being a coward and actually show that he was a great, brave leader in his life. And of course, we know the outcome of that he actually was, and he did those things, and he changed the face of World War II in Europe at the time. Another person that recently that we know about that did this, that determined the person that they were going to be, was Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan is a kind of a mythical athlete in the minds of most individuals because of what he was actually able to accomplish. But most people, they want to know what is the killer mindset of Jordan or whatever, but they don't realize the decisions that were made along the way that allowed him to solidify and double down on who he decided he wanted to be. And there was a couple of very prominent events in his life that really kind of solidified this for him. One of them was that when his father ridiculed him because he didn't know what automobile tools were called, like a 9/16 wrench or a pair of pliers or a screwdriver or whatever, if his dad would say, "Michael, hand me this," he didn't know it, and his dad would make fun of him, and then he would have to go in the house with his mother. His father would say, "Go in the house with the women, you're never going to be anything." What he wanted the most at that time in his life was he wanted the recognition from his father, because his father gave a tremendous amount of recognition and accolades to his older brother. So he was in constant competition for his father's adoration based on who he was and who he was being, because he was in this competition with his older brother for it. So as he starts to develop and find out that he's lazy in almost everything, he's getting teased relentlessly by his family because he won't work. He doesn't want anything to do with work. He goes to work for this store for a short period of time, comes home and says he'll never do that again. He'll become a wino before he has a 9-to-5 job. He's not doing it. And the people were kind of looking at him. His family was looking at him like he's going to be lazy. He's going to be a bum. He can't. The father can't believe that this kid does not want to work, until it comes to sports, where he finds that it's no effort for him to actually work and practice and do these things. So now he's found something that's authentically him, and he starts going down this road in sports, and he hits a bump in the road in high school. he gets suspended 3 times in high school. And he goes home, and this is in 1 year. He goes home, and his father says, Michael, if you don't stop the shenanigans that you're doing, you can forget sports. It's going to be out. It's going to be done. Well, Michael loved sports more than anything. At that moment, he decided, no more fucking around in high school. I'm going to be single-minded in what it is that I'm doing. And then there were a couple of other things that came along as he went through college sports and he started getting into the pros. There were some very specific things that happened where he basically said, this is the person that I'm going to be. One, his high school coach said to him, he asked him what he wanted, and Michael Jordan said he wanted to be the best. And he said that he practiced just as good as everybody else. And the high school coach said, I thought you said you wanted to be the best. Meaning that if you want to be the best, you have to play harder than everybody else. You have to practice harder than everybody else. So he became that. He said, I will work harder than anybody ever. That's what he told his high school coach. He gained more confidence when he went to North Carolina and he was coached by Dean Smith. More confidence when he went to play for the Bulls. And each time a piece of the story dropped in for him where he claimed it for his own and he said, this is what I'm going to be. And then, of course, we know him as the most relentless, driven, competitive basketball player ever, or at least, at the very top. But he created that story as he went of, this is the person that I'm going to be so that nobody can beat me. I could probably go on and on with other people here, but the idea is this. We pick and create stories of who we're going to be. Those stories have attributes of the individual. They're dedicated, they're driven, they have the commitment. So it's not how do I get myself to do those things. It's those are the things that go along with the story. I am this, not how do I get myself to do this. If you keep asking yourself, how do I get myself to do this, then you're not being that. The idea is that when you write this story down, you write it as if you're that person, and then you act as if you're that person. So you want to describe it in detail, and then number 4, you become that person. You act the part. You do the causes of the results that you want. Day in, day out. Now you're into the cause and effect of your quantum leap, of your jumpstart. You're into the cause and effect. You're being the cause. You're thinking the cause. Your emotional body's in the cause. You're doing the things that need to be done from the cause of what it is that you actually want. And when you're doing this, you're going to hit, in many cases, you're going to hit a wall. And the wall is what you don't know that you don't know. This is where every person who has ever broken through to the next level has got a coach or a mentor. Because a coach or a mentor has the ability to see when you hit this wall and help expand you bigger than you can think so that you can step into this place. I've never heard of anybody that got to the greatness that they wanted to achieve, got to the quantum leap that they wanted to achieve, really made a big, huge change in what they were doing without the guidance of somebody who was way ahead of them that had the ability to expand their thinking into what it is that they're doing, expand their behavior, point out where they were either playing it safe or not recognizing what they needed to do. But that little switch, just turning that little screw of adjustment in that individual, helped them make a quantum leap on the other side. So number 5 is to get a coach that is at least at your level or the level you want to be at or beyond, preferably beyond. Number 6, don't stop if you fail the first time and then never stop. Don't stop if you fail the first time and never stop. Because when you do this, you may take a lot of runs to the thing. Like I went 2 months without getting the results. A lot of people will have a lot of at-bats at something like this. And the first time they swing, they miss. The second time they swing, they miss. Third time they swing, they miss. It doesn't matter how many times you attempt and don't make it. It is adjust and keep going, adjust and keep going, adjust and keep going. Another good reason for a coach or a mentor, because they can show you what to adjust that you can't see. There's a reason all professional athletes have coaches. There's a reason musicians have coaches. There's a reason actors have coaches. There's a reason top business people have coaches, because the coach can see what they can't see. We're making an attempt based on our perception of what we're doing and what we're seeing, but it's the thing that we can't see where we make the slight improvement that causes the massive quantum leap. Number 7, when you discover what it takes, don't change, don't go in reverse. One of the biggest lessons that is learned by people that not only become great, but stay great, when they make a quantum leap and they stay there and they're able to go to the next level and the next level and the next level, is the realization, generally by observation, of people who don't. Many people do all the things right in the beginning. They take big swings, make all these adjustments that we're talking about. They get there only to come back down again. Why? Because when they get there, they change their behavior. And they change their behavior as if they've arrived and they don't need to do it anymore. And they end up coming back down. And the fall from that height is usually devastating to someone, because even in the accomplishment, the first, the second, the third accomplishment, you're still building new self-esteem. You're still building inner confidence and drive. You're still building realizations. If you take a big fall when you're in that middle of building, it's even harder to get up again, especially when you did it, especially when you made a fall because you chose to stop doing the things that actually worked. I've got a pretty famous saying that basically says nobody fails, but every failure quits. So the idea is that you don't quit. You keep doing it. Now, here's some tips of things to change that need to be incorporated that will make this much easier. They, in my opinion, they absolutely need to be changed, because if you don't change them, the temptation of fucking with your mind is just too great. So you want to change your environment to match where you're going, not where you are. You want to change your conditions to match where you're going, not where you are. What does that mean? It means that you don't act where you are now. You don't change your environment to match where you are now. You change your environment to match where you're going. So, like when we talk to people when they ask us about hiring and training a team. You hire for where you want to go, not where you are. Because when people hire out of desperation for where they are, they're not hiring the talents that's going to help them get where they want to go. So they may get out of a pickle in the immediate, but they find themselves right back into it because the person they hired can't help them get where it is that they want to go. You want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the people that will help you get where you want to go, not support you exactly in where you are, but they're constantly helping you move where you want to go. Conditions. If you're working in shitty conditions that have more of a tendency to hold you back than move you forward, you need to change the conditions. You want to, when you're looking for answers, when you're looking for people, when you're looking for support, when you're looking for people of influence, go to the top. Don't say to yourself, I'm not there yet. I can't get that person to help me. I can't get that person to speak for me. I can't get on that person's podcast. I can't get that person's support. Go to the top. Don't fuck around in the middle. Don't fuck around in the bottom. Go to the top. Go to the very top. The people at the top have the ability to help you make a quantum leap faster than anybody else. So when you're looking for support, when you're looking for coaching, when you're looking for money, when you're looking for any kind of help whatsoever, go to the very top that you can get to. Create the right relationships, because all success is about relationships. You want to create relationships all the way up the ladder, right? And you want to maintain relationships with good quality people that can help you now and that can help you in the future, and that you can help them. And then last but not least is that you need to practice massive faith in what you're doing. That means faith kind of goes along with hope. And then it's an idea that you necessarily cannot, you may be not experiencing what you want now, but you have the faith that if you follow the solid principles, that the thing that you want is going to manifest in your life. Faith is your responsibility. You have to keep it up. You have to keep it alive. You have to keep it fresh, and you have to keep it strong. Don't ever let anybody step on your faith. Don't ever let anybody step on your hope. Hope and faith are very, very important. With hope and faith, it also opens the door to options. You'll always have options if you have hope and faith. You'll have a reason to continue to move forward. When you lose hope and faith, and keep in mind, nobody takes it from you, you voluntarily give it up for something else, you will come crashing down so fast it'll make your head spin. But with hope and faith, you can stretch through every goal, through every action, through every new commitment for who you want to be, with all the courage that you need to ask for what it is that you need and what you want to get to the destination that you want to go. If you apply all of these things, you can not only jumpstart your business, you can make a huge quantum leap in what it is that you create in your life, which will be a massive springboard for everything that you do futuristically in your business and your life if you remember those principles. Because really, it's the continuation of those principles as you go through what you're building that keeps creating massive jumps forward. You see people that struggle for years at one level and can't get out of the way because they get sucked into the story of the level and they don't break out, right? So if you want to break out, you've got to create a new story. These are the principles that will allow you to do it. They will allow you to do it fast. You won't stay stagnant, and it literally will pull you into the success you're looking for. Make it a great one. Hey, just finished How to Jumpstart Your Business and Your Results. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe, leave us a comment, and tell your friends about it. Really appreciate it. Thank you.